Back up a little bit, please. Thank
How
you.
can you support your father? How do you support him moving forward?
Well, Bill and Sade, accepting a plea agreement would mean that Sean Combs would have to admit to trafficking and force. And today he made it very clear that was not going to happen. Diddy maintained all along these encounters involved consenting adults and plans to take his chances that a jury agrees.
We have the latest from federal court in the Sean Combs criminal case. Status of jury selection, what Diddy's going to be wearing, violation of a gag order, rejecting a plea offer.
At trial, Combs will ditch the jail garb and wear ordinary clothes. As his lawyers argue, the evidence shows consenting adults being intimate in their own way.
She did, and when the judge did, Diddy, who was sitting at the defense table with his attorneys, did not show any signs of emotion. He took a sip of water before he was led out of the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals. Now, his lawyers have vowed to fight this. They are going to be back in court on Wednesday before the judge who will oversee this trial and try to get Diddy to be released.
The last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts. When he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings.
The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now. That will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame exploit both women and men for decades.
Do you still think that, because there is this public perception, that there are celebrity tapes involved in this case?
No.
Do you still think that there are minors involved in this case?
I'm certain no.
Okay.
And again, when you say this case, we're talking the criminal case.
The criminal case.
In the
correct.
criminal,
I know that.
In the criminal case,
in
the criminal case, no.
What made you come here to support Puff?
I'm supporting Puff because he's innocent, and I'm wholeheartedly believing his innocence, and I know he's innocent. So
So you say you know he's innocent?
1,000%.
Major developments tonight involving the case against Sean Diddy Combs, what he decided in court today, and what this now means, the move coming just 4 days before his trial is set to begin. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, Sean Combs makes it official. He's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a prolonged term in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," as he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform. Terms were not disclosed, but prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs back behind bars, a magistrate judge denying him bail, saying that there were no conditions that she could conceive of that would make her confident that he would appear again for other court appearances. The judge saying, "My concern is this is a crime that happens behind closed doors."
Would you be open to a plea bargain?
Well, it's not up to me. It's up to Mr. Combs, and I don't see it happening.
Why?
Because he believes he's innocent. He believes he's innocent. And what's more, he believes that he needs to stand up, not just for himself, for his family, and for everybody who's been targeted by the federal government.
This is going to be such a massive trial, like maybe the biggest Hollywood trial. God knows which way it's going to go. Are they going to, is it going to go on for weeks? And
for sure, weeks.
Federal trafficking, racketeering, and charges beginning Monday morning.
He knows the deck is stacked against him. They've got a ton of evidence. Take the plea deal, dude. Just take it.
Well, my guess is that, because we don't know the deal of the plea deal. At least I don't think we do.
True.
Okay.
Diddy's own son just flipped, and it could send the music mogul to prison for decades. Christian Combs, the 27-year-old heir to the bad boy empire, is now working with federal prosecutors in one of the most high-profile celebrity trials of our time. Sealed memos, encrypted chats, and millions in hush money transfers are coming to light. And with Christian allegedly prepared to testify against his father, this isn't just a legal case anymore. It's a full-blown betrayal threatening to destroy a legendary legacy from the inside out. For months, whispers have circled about a mystery witness tied to Diddy's federal investigation. But now, court files reveal the name, Christian Combs. The same young man who once stood beside his father on red carpets and in music videos is now allegedly cooperating with the feds. His name reportedly appears in sealed documents obtained just days before the trial kicks off, outlining testimony that prosecutors believe could be game-changing. Law enforcement insiders say Christian holds direct knowledge of private jets, hand-picked guest lists, and shady payments routed through shell companies. These weren't just details. They were the machinery behind Diddy's now infamous parties in Miami and the Hamptons. Prosecutors claim these events were more than industry gatherings. They were hubs of illegal trafficking and exploitation. Christian's expected testimony, if allowed in court, could be devastating. Former assistant U.S. attorneys are already calling it a rare, high-impact move. When a family member turns, especially in conspiracy cases like this, it sends a signal no one is safe and the walls are closing in. But that's just the beginning of the nightmare Diddy's facing. From 2015 to 2022, Diddy's exclusive gatherings became legendary. Lavish, high-security, invitation-only events featuring top-tier celebrities, influencers, athletes, and even tech moguls. But what appeared to be flashy celebrations were, according to prosecutors, carefully orchestrated operations used to move people across state lines for criminal purposes. The flights? Paid for through shell companies tied to Bad Boy Entertainment. The guest lists? Allegedly curated with the help of Christian himself. Court documents now reference encrypted messages showing Christian organizing luxury charters and coordinating high-profile guests, while prosecutors say these flights were the very foundation of Diddy's alleged trafficking network. Agents even raided Diddy's mansions in LA and Miami, seizing phones, laptops, and financial records. Among them, devices that allegedly include father-son conversations the government now wants to validate through live courtroom testimony. These parties, prosecutors argue, weren't just wild. They were recruitment zones for something much darker, and Christian may be the key to proving it.
Elaborate, sometimes days-long parties by coercing victims through drugs, threats, and manipulation. They claim to have video evidence, and some of the accusations echo details from over 70 civil lawsuits filed against Combs over the last 30 years.
Just when it seemed like Diddy might take the easy way out, he stunned everyone by rejecting a plea deal that would have capped his sentence at just 12 years. The deal would have required him to admit guilt to charges tied to trafficking and coercion. But instead, Diddy doubled down, insisting he's innocent and that he won't be labeled a criminal mastermind. His lead attorney, Aaron Sussman, didn't mince words. He blasted the government for trying to weaponize family ties and smear Diddy with unproven stories and shady connections. But the facts are stacking up. The feds aren't just building a case, they're constructing a narrative complete with encrypted chats, shell company transfers, and digital breadcrumbs. And if Christian testifies, it may validate everything they've been working toward. This move to reject a plea deal isn't just bold, it's dangerous. 'Cause now, everything will be dragged out in public. Every detail, every witness, every allegation. The trial is on, and it could spiral into one of the most damaging court battles hip-hop has ever seen. If you thought this was just about wild parties and celebrity guest lists, think again. The money trail is where this story gets deadly serious. Newly unsealed documents reveal that Diddy allegedly funneled over $74 million through a tangled web of 17 shell companies between 2016 and 2023. We're talking about wire transfers jumping across Delaware, Nevada, and even the British Virgin Islands, all quietly bankrolling a lifestyle that prosecutors now claim was built on illegal activity. One name shows up again and again in the ledgers: Christian Combs. Invoices reportedly place him as the internal approver for yacht rentals, luxury catering, and private flights tied directly to the now infamous White Sands weekend. Prosecutors argue that Christian didn't just know what was happening, he was allegedly signing off on it. But Diddy's lawyers say this was all standard business practice. They insist the ledgers are being twisted into fiction, turning hospitality costs into evidence of a trafficking ring. Still, forensic accountants hired by the feds are telling a different story, pointing out identical five-figure withdrawals made hours before exclusive invite-only events. And the pressure didn't stop there. In a stunning move, federal agents even hit J.P. Morgan Chase with a supplemental warrant. They're now tracking a $900,000 transfer from one of Diddy's tequila brands to a dormant media company, money that allegedly financed a jet to Nassau, Bahamas with 8 mystery passengers aboard. The feds say that's no coincidence, it's evidence.
Diddy's lawyers had argued that he had made good faith efforts by showing up in New York, ready to surrender to face these charges, but prosecutors said that he could not be trusted, that he has a history of trying to intimidate witnesses, including some who are going to be witnesses in this case. They urged a judge to remand him.
As the financial bombshells exploded, Diddy's empire started to crumble from within. The very brands he helped elevate, Revolt TV, Ciroc, Diageo, are distancing themselves fast. Diageo wrapped up an internal audit and cut ties. Revolt TV put out a formal statement. They'll cooperate fully but claim no financial overlap with Diddy's shell companies. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, panic hit the boardrooms. Insiders at Combs Enterprises say executives were called into emergency meetings. They're now exploring options to sell off assets, including shares in Sean John, and even paused a major hospitality launch in Miami. Some staffers have already been warned. Furloughs are coming. The financial fallout is spreading like wildfire. Music distributors are delaying projects. Art auctions are being shelved. And Diddy's once untouchable brand? It's radioactive. Liquor sponsors, marketing teams, even old collaborators are hitting the brakes. They want nothing to do with what's coming next. Because here's the brutal truth. This isn't just about Diddy anymore. It's about a business empire collapsing under the weight of decades of secrets. And the fuse was lit by someone on the inside. His own son. Christian Combs isn't just under the spotlight. He's standing at the center of a cultural earthquake. As news broke that he'd been meeting with prosecutors, twice in April according to insiders, the internet went nuclear. Especially Black Twitter, where hashtags like #ProtectKingCombs and #BlackWallOfSilence began trending. And the reactions? Split right down the middle. Some are calling him brave, a young man doing the right thing in the face of overwhelming pressure. Others? They're accusing him of betrayal, of turning on family to save his own skin. Veteran music journalist Danielle Harper, who's covered Bad Boy since the 90s, said it best. The culture can't scream for truth, then shame the first person who tells it. But this isn't just about Christian. Prosecutors have reportedly reached out to Justin Combs and Quincy Brown, too. No formal cooperation yet, but the fact they're even on the radar speaks volumes. And the drama doesn't end there. 50 Cent, never one to hold back, fired shots online, claiming he has court documents naming other famous figures who profited off shady deals with Diddy. And prosecutors? They're already digging into those claims. Celebrity endorsement records, appearance fees, and private back-end payments are now part of a massive paper trail. This isn't just a legal storm, it's a generational rift. Family loyalty is being tested. Cultural values are being questioned. And Christian Combs? Whether you see him as a hero or a traitor, he just became the most controversial figure in hip-hop overnight. Courtroom is already on lockdown. Jury selection has begun, with a 24-page questionnaire screening every potential juror on their familiarity with Diddy, conspiracy charges, and over 160 potential witnesses. The judge is moving fast. Opening statements could start as early as Thursday. Inside those court filings, explosive evidence. Ledgers, encrypted chats, private jet flight logs, and payment records, all pointing to a coordinated operation. Prosecutors say Diddy used his nightlife empire, his liquor brands, and his influence to cover up something darker. They even claim to have video evidence, tying back to over 70 civil lawsuits filed against Diddy over the last 30 years. And Christian's role? Crucial. If the judge allows it, he could take the stand in the very first week, confirming the timeline, the money trail, and possibly implicating his father directly. That's why Diddy's lawyers are pushing hard, filing motions to limit Christian's testimony, protect private convos, and discredit his motives. But prosecutors aren't flinching. They've got forensic analysts, aviation staff, and ex-bodyguards lined up to testify. One even claims flight logs were routinely wiped to hide who flew where and when. And as the court battles rage on, the fallout is spreading. Streaming royalties are under review. Liquor distributors are freezing deals. And Diddy's art collection auction? Cancelled indefinitely. This trial is bigger than Diddy. It's about the collapse of an empire built on fame, money, and silence. It's about whether someone with untouchable power can finally be held accountable. And it's about a son caught between blood loyalty and brutal truth, stepping into the spotlight and lighting the match. Christian Combs didn't just cooperate. He cracked the foundation of one of hip-hop's most iconic dynasties. And now everything's unraveling. What happens next could rewrite the rules for celebrity justice forever. So what do you think? Is Christian doing the right thing or just saving himself? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're still watching, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Because this trial, it's just getting started.